Hi there, it's Tamara, and today's class is another request from a friend of mine for sitting hips. If you haven't yet watched the intro video, some classes I demonstrate and some I don't. Today's class I will. Let's get started. We'll start today's practice lying on your back. So come to your back with your knees bent and your feet planted about as wide as your hips are. So locate your frontal hip bones, and that's roughly hips width apart. For now, you can turn the palms up to the ceiling so the shoulders drop back. And have the toes slightly turned in and the heels out so that your feet are parallel, so the long edge of the foot is lined up with the long edge of the mat. Start to draw your awareness to the breath, moving in and out of the body. And start to deepen the length of the inhale and the length of the exhale. As you inhale, notice the expansion along the front of the body. And as you exhale, notice the shoulders drop back. Cycling back and forth between the inhale and the exhale. The energetic breath and the breath of release. Now we're going to start right away linking some breath and movement. So starting with the arms, as you inhale, reach your fingertips to the ceiling with your palms facing. As you exhale, navel to spine as you reach your arms back behind you. Navel to spine as you inhale, fingertips back up. As you exhale, lower the arms. That much again. Inhale, fingertips to ceiling. As you exhale, navel to spine, as you drop your arms behind you, they don't have to touch the floor. In fact, longer is better than lower. Find more length as you reach the fingertips to the wall behind you. And then as you inhale, navel to spine, reach your fingertips up. As you exhale, lower down. And adding the hips. Inhale, push down through the feet, lift the hips, lift the fingertips. As you exhale, lower the hips, lower the arms behind you, reach long. As you inhale, lift the hips, fingertips to ceiling. As you exhale, lower both the hips and the arms. Again, just like that. Inhale to lift up, reach up. Exhale to lower down, hips and arms behind you. Navel to spine, inhale, reach up, lift the hips up. As you exhale, lower down. This time, inhale, lift up with the hips and the arms. And now keep the hips where they are as you reach the arms back behind you. Push down with the soles of the feet to lift the hips up. Next, inhale, navel to spine as you reach the fingertips up. And then as you exhale, lower your arms, but keep your hips lifted. Palms can be up to the ceiling, or you can grab the outside edges of your mat. As you root down with your arms to lift the chest up, and root down with the feet to lift the hips up. And just notice if your feet have a tendency to turn out. See if you can keep the toes pointing straight ahead. You may feel a little pigeon-toed when you do this. Take one more inhale here. And then as you exhale, slowly roll down through the spine. Take a moment once your hips land. Release the mat if you have it. And then roll over onto one side. Come on up to all fours. So have your knees beneath your hips, your hands beneath your shoulders. Fan your fingers lightly so you can root down with the entire palm into the floor. Keeping your hips stacked over your knees, inhale, arch your back, let your belly hang as you pull your chest to the wall in front of you. As you exhale, push down through the palms and inflate across the upper back. Round the back, letting the head hang down, the tailbone hang down. And then again, linking the breath and the movement. So on the inhale, arch your back. Find the length and the openness along the front body. As you exhale, round the back. Find the openness across the back body. Again, leading with the chest, bringing the chin level to the floor as opposed to any higher. And exhale, round. Crown of head hangs, tailbone hangs. Two more times. Inhale, arch, draw the shoulders away from your ears. Exhale, round. Send the shoulder blades to the ceiling. Last time, inhale, arch. And exhale, round, contract. Come back to tabletop. Bring the big toes together, the knees slightly wider than the hips this time. Sink your hips back to your heels as you walk your hands forward, continuing to keep them shoulder distance apart. Walk them far enough forward that the elbows straighten, but then bring your forehead down to the floor. As you drop your hips back and down, spin your inner upper arms, the biceps right next to your ears, up to the ceiling. And then find more length along the side body by walking your fingertips forward any amount, keeping the entire palm rooting down, both the left and the right. Finding more length, breathing into the rib cage where you are. As you inhale, come up to all fours, separate your big toes. Bring your knees underneath your hips. Now tuck your toes underneath you and come to downward facing dog. Let's start with knees bent. So finding more openness from the palms to the sitting bones. Breathing into the rib cage. Pressing both hands completely down into the floor. So especially the inner part of the hand that tends to pick up. And then go ahead and start to straighten the knees. Press your legs behind you. If you feel this rounds your low back, then continue to keep the knees bent and prioritize a long spine over straight legs. Keep the feet where they are. Start to bend the knees if they aren't already. Walk your hands towards your feet. Bring your hands to your shins and press your shins into your hands as you come up to a flat back part way. Now draw the shoulders away from the ears and pull the chest to the front of the mat. As you exhale, round down over the legs. Keeping your knees bent deeply, start to walk your hands forward again, coming back to downward facing dog. On your next inhale, rock yourself to plank. Press down through the balls of the feet. Press down through the palms. Press the thigh bones to the ceiling and direct your tailbone to your heel so you're compact at your center. Your low belly supporting your low back. Take one more inhale, pull your chest forward without letting your hips drop. As you exhale, drop your knees to the mat and point your toes. Keeping your tailbone heavy, pull your chest forward and up. Keeping your elbows moving in towards the rib cage, lower as slowly as you can. Once you land, forehead to the mat. Interlace your hands at your low back and you can keep your elbows bent. Press the tops of the feet down and see if you can get the pinky toe side of the foot down with your big toes going straight back. And then use the legs for this baby cobra back bend. By lifting your kneecaps, you'll feel how that engages your quadriceps. Keep the tops of the feet down and now pin your elbows in towards one another. As you inhale, send your knuckles towards the back of the mat. Resist the urge to straighten the elbows all the way, but rather pull your hands apart, keeping the interlace as a way to add a little resistance as you open across the chest. Take one more inhale here. As you exhale, lower the forehead down. Bring the knuckles to the tailbone. Switch the interlace, so different thumb in front. Pin your elbows in. Feel the shoulders move away from the floor. One more time, keeping your kneecaps lifted so your legs are engaged. Keep the tops of the feet down as you send your knuckles back and up, pulling the hands away from each other. Keeping the chin heavy so the back of the neck is long, as opposed to leading with the chin. One more inhale here. Exhale, lower down, hands next to your low ribs. Push through tabletop, tuck your toes, and exhale, downward facing dog. Take one more inhale, push the floor away. As you exhale, drop your knees down, point your toes. Walk your hands back so you can come up onto your knees. Bring your hands to your hips as you step your right foot forward. Setting up with the shin parallel-ish to the front of the back thigh, or to the back thigh. Manually drop your tailbone down. So just like we did in plank, tailbone to heels, same thing here, tailbone down towards the back of the left knee. So you're lifting your pelvis up. Keep the lift in the front body. Keep the heaviness in the back body as you start to inch your front foot forward. Stop when you feel yourself come into a back bend. So trying to keep the tailbone heavy, go only so far as you can while maintaining this position in the pelvis. Now tuck the toes underneath you and apply a lot of pressure down through the balls of the feet. Interlace the hands one more time. Pin your elbows in, keeping the tailbone heavy. And I sometimes like to do this manually since my knuckles are at the sacrum, the low back anyway. Pin your elbows in and then send your knuckles back and up, keeping a micro bend in the elbows. Pulling your hands apart as you sink the hips forward and down. One more inhale to stay here. Exhale, release the interlace, sweep the fingertips to the ceiling. Exhale, twist open to the right. Reach your right hand back as you reach forward through your left, sinking the hips forward and down, still plugging the ball of the back foot into the floor. Inhale, reach the fingertips up. Exhale, hands either side of the right foot. Plug the ball of the left foot so much into the floor as you press the heel back, the knee comes up and away from the floor. Take the right hand to the outer right hip, pin it back and into the left heel. Pull your chest forward, exhale, open up, twist. See if you can find a straight line of energy down through the left palm and up through the right fingertips. Keep hugging the right knee in towards the left rib cage. Take an inhale to stay. Exhale, unwind. Pull your chest forward as you step to plank. Tailbone is heavy here. Exhale, downward facing dog. Next, exhale, drop your knees, point your toes. Walk your hands back one more time. Step your left foot up this time. Lining up the left shin with the front back thigh so they're parallel. Drop the back body, lift the front body. Keep your hands at your waist as you start to inch your left foot forward and stop when you feel yourself go into a back bend. So we're kind of trying to keep the low back broad here. Keep the front body moving towards the back body. And then interlace, left thumb in front this time. Pin your elbows in, send your knuckles back and up as you drop your tailbone forward and down. So I'm keeping my elbows slightly bent so I can pull my hands apart. That just creates a little resistance as you open across the front of the chest. And I can feel the muscles along my back body fire a little more. Take one more inhale here. Exhale, release the hands. If you haven't already, tuck the back toes so you can really root down through the ball of the foot. Inhale, sweep the fingertips up. Exhale, twist to the left. Left fingertips reach back. Right fingertips reach forward. Tailbone is heavy on your next inhale. Come back to the front. And then exhale, hands either side of the left foot. Send the right heel back as you straighten the knee. Take the left hand to the outer left hip. Plug it, draw it back and in towards the right heel as you pull your chest forward. Find length along the front body. As you exhale, twist open to the left. Rooting down through your right palm, rebounding up through the left fingertips. Rotate the right rib cage towards your left knee. Take an inhale to stay. As you exhale, left hand down. Tailbone heavy as you step to plank. And then downward facing dog. Inhale, come high on your toes, look between your hands. Step your right foot all the way up. Drop your back knee down. Keep your back toes tucked. Inhale one more time. Lift the chest. Bring the hands to the hips. This time, send the heel back right away so much that you find a little air beneath your left knee, between the left knee and the floor. So this is really challenging. I'm really rooting down with the ball of my left foot. Send your left heel back and you'll feel, hopefully, probably, a lot of stretch on the front of the back thigh. Inhale, reach up through the fingertips. If balance is okay, look up, drop your head back. Exhale, hands down. Step directly to downward facing dog. Inhale, high on the toes, look up. Left foot steps up. Right knee drops down. Take your hands to your hips, keeping the ball of the back foot plugged into the floor. Push down through the right ball of the foot as you send the right heel back. Keep the tailbone heavy, move the front body towards the back body. One more inhale, reach up from the waist to the fingertips. Look up, touch your palms, and exhale, hands down. Step 2, downward facing dog. Couple breaths here. One big inhale to press back. As you exhale, drop your knees, cross your ankles, sit behind your feet. And one more time, come onto your back where we started, with the knees bent and your feet planted. This time, palms down with your feet hips distance apart. Lead with the tailbone. So tuck the tailbone as you lift your hips up. And then exhale, slowly lower. And one more time. Tuck the tailbone in. Then the legs take over. Push down through the feet. Lift up through the thighs. And then exhale, lower down. This time we'll hold. Press down through the feet. Again, either holding on to the outer edge of the mat or take the same interlace, roll the upper arms underneath you. There should be space between the back of the neck and the floor. So your upper outer arm is, your biceps are on the floor, your triceps, bicep area, upper arm. Press down and then press the knuckles down towards the floor. So it's the arms that are pressing as opposed to the back of the neck. One more inhale, breathe into the chest. And then release the interlace. Lower the legs down. Take a moment, let that settle. And then cross the right knee over the left. Shift your hips to the right. Drop your legs to the left. Reach your arms up in like a cactus position. So elbows at shoulder height. Fingertips pointing back. If the cross of the legs feels too intense on the low back, stack your thighs and your legs. Couple big breaths into the chest, into the area where you're creating space. And then as you inhale, lead with the top leg, navel to spine, come back to center. Left knee over right. Shift your hips to the left slightly as you drop your legs to the right. Breathing into the space, the twist, the side body. Continuing to descend the left shoulder to the floor. And then navel to spine as you come back to center. Go ahead and stretch the legs out along the floor. Have them as wide as your mat with your palms turned up. Take final resting pose here. I would suggest for a minimum of 5 minutes. Feel free to take longer if you need to.